Hello, good morning. I am Madam Eileen. I'm a CBA balloon artist. I love using Polytex balloons. I do decor, I do face painting. I love to have fun. I love to bring the fun to you. Today, I'm going to do a race car. I looked through my patterns of designs that I've studied, and I didn't like, for what I was wanting and feeling for this particular job, I didn't see. So I've grabbed bits and pieces of all these different cars and I've put something together that I think is unique. First thing I did is I took a 350 balloon. My car was red. This car is going to be orange. I used my inflator, and you need just enough balloon for how long you want it to stick out from your race car. You want to tie a knot there, go to this end, tie a knot here. I don't often give finger measurements just because it's all about perspective. You look at your design and that tells you if you should do more or less. I'm going to cut off the knot, make sure that knot is on nice and tight, and then cut the nozzles off. All right, from here, I got two 260 orange. I inflate them halfway. And then a good handspan down, I pinch and I roll it. So I want a long nozzle. This nozzle needs to stretch around the balloon. So if you let out the air and you've pinched it like I have, and it pulls too tightly around the balloon, then you need to make let some more out by first twisting a bubble, pinching where that joint is, and letting it go. And then, while pinched, pull it around the balloon again. That seems to be a very good spot. So this is where you tie the knot. We're making this race car from the tail to the nose. Now we're going to do the second balloon. And I can compare if I have the nozzles at the same length. If I do, I go ahead and tie a knot. Now this is where I do two pinch twists. I isolate a bubble, and then I do a second bubble. I pinch twist that second bubble. If you're uncertain on pinch twist, look at my beginner twister videos. I have a whole video on pinch twists and what you can do to practice and get better at your pinch twists. Okay, now that I have one pinch twist on each one, I grab the knot and I pull the knot around and then through the middle between the two bubbles, and thus I have two pinch twists. You do want to try to get these two pinch twists the same size, but in my opinion, it's okay if one is a little smaller than the other. Your 350 balloon will sit on the top while the long nozzle goes around and then wraps around the base and snaps in. This is it called the spoiler of the vehicle? I want smaller bubble towards the back. If you have a smaller bubble, put it towards the back. And now I have one finger hold the string towards where I want to wrap it, and then I start wrapping. Okay, now that I have this done, I go how far I want the spoiler to stick out. So I'm going to create a triangle. So I'm going to go down at an angle, do a pinch twist, come in, and then go back up. And then what do you do on one side? You can measure to see what kind of hand grip you needed, and then you mirror that on the other side. To create stability, at this point, you can go across and connect it. You can go across and make a very narrow race car, or you can go wide. Let's see. I wonder where my robot went. I needed to make a race car with a robot in it. Oh well, my robot ran away. I made a robot, and then I put the robot in between the bubbles, and that guided me as to how wide my race car was going to be, or needed to be, in order for that robot to go in and out of the car. Of course, the smaller you make your bubbles, the less balloon it's going to take. Alright. So I have them connected. I'm comparing to see if they're about the same length. If one side is a tiny bit shorter than the other, you can actually grab and pull and stroke it, and it will actually get a little bit longer and even out. Now we're going to complete the triangle. So I see how far back I want the spoiler to rock. And then how far up, how steep do I want it? Up high, down low. So I put this in between. The joint of the bubble, I push against the joint of where I'm connecting it to. And then while pushing it together, I take this balloon and I roll. I roll it and guide it gently in the direction I want to go. And I like how it's going straight across. So I think I'm going to connect at this point. You'll find that you may do this balloon 10 or 20 times, and you might find a slightly different way to do it each time, just because that's just how the bubbles fall. If I made the balloon a little bit wider, I might not have had enough to go across at that point. Balloon twisting is very much like three-dimensional art. Have you ever done an art project where you grab wire and you make a sculpture using just that wire by guiding it into a continuous line? That back looks really good. This is I'm going to use for the bottom of the race. Might use it for the bottom of the race car. Or might continue forward, but this is a good point to add another balloon. A good rule of thumb is inflate at least halfway. If you're going to do a lot of pinch twists, halfway is really good. If you're not certain, halfway. If you still have plenty of tail, you can always snip the tip at the end and add more air from that end and then just tie a knot. That way you're not wasting balloons. Okay, I want to get this side done. So I think I'm going to go out and then in. Creating balloons can be a fun challenge of logic. I'm comparing, measuring. I think that's just a little too big. I think that's just right. Give a squeeze and a stretch, or give it a nice pet. You're warming up the balloon. Warm latex likes to be is more flexible and stretchy. I could zigzag back and forth. That's one way I could do this. But I'm not. I'm going to come back down. The way I created this car is I got the top layer done, and then I worked on the bottom layer. Now we're going to do the center of the car, the cockpit. This is where my little robot rode. The birthday boy was very pleased with his race car robot. He loves robots. He loves race cars. Grandma couldn't decide what thing he would like more. And I said, well, let's combine them both. I was a little bit of trial and error. I'm a creative person. I'm not a precise engineer. I don't often use exact measurements. There's just enough balloon here to go across. So, you can always add a new balloon to the joints. going to cut the tail in half. If there's air in that tail, as you wind, it gets tighter, but you cut the tip off and it lets, well, no air bubbles, and it wraps nice and tight. So this next part, this is the small front of the car. The nose of the car, and the point. I'm doing a little cage on the very front of this vehicle. It's already getting very tight. Now, because it's very tight here, I'm going to twist this, or pinch twist a few times. So if this does pop and explode on me, if you do a good job with this pinch twist, it will not all unravel on you. I'm putting this into position so you can see what we have so far. This is going to be the front, but I'm not going to close it quite yet. Oh, I got a phone call. Excuse me. Hi, I'm in a meeting right now. Can you please call back? It's probably one of those scam numbers because I couldn't hear anyone on the other end of the call. What a wonderful age we live in. We get crank called by scammers. All right, new balloon. Inflated halfway at least. And what I'm going to do here, that's an interesting thought. I like it. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I want the top of the box to close this way eventually. So I might still use this, let a little bit of air out. I could do that now, I guess. Okay, I snipped it. I feel the pressure really, really tight. I'm not looking at it because my fingers are telling me, ah! Okay, so I snipped the tip, squeezed a little bit, so there was no air in the tip. I snipped it, and then I quickly put my finger on top of the snip. If the air leaves too quickly, you have an explosion. Ha. But if you release the air little by little, you don't have the big bada boom. And it's okay, this bubble can be soft. We want it soft and stretchy because it is going to go over the nose of our race car. Now we need to finish the front of this car. So this is going to be interesting. It really is. If I go here, here, here. You know, I can't really see any way of making a separate bubble. So I am going to go ahead and do that. Just to make things easy. You can always double your bubbles. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll double my bubble here. Make sure this is the same length as this. Alright. So I connected. This is going to connect across once I get the nose of a race car in. I connected my new balloon here, went across and connected it here. Now we're going to go down. Now, where's when I made it, I started here and I went this way. But I want to get this under control. So I am going to, again, I'm making this different from the first two times I made it. This is the spacer bubble between the top of the car and the bottom where we're going to put the wheels. So you want it small. I'm connecting to the bottom of the front grille of my race car. I'm going to squeeze and make a tiny stretchy bubble that will go across the bottom here, making a double bubble side by side. And since that's the bottom front of our car, we are now back on track for connecting to the front. Okay, so that's going to be the very front. I have these two bubbles here, connecting back up to here. On this side, I am going to go over, pinch twist, connect to here, come back down to the pinch twist, come over, go up to this pinch twist, down, go over, connect to this pinch twist, and go across this space. So that's the plan. So measuring with the fingers. It's all about getting the proportions. It doesn't matter about making the exact same thing as me. If everything is in the right proportion, it'll look right, no matter if you make it big or small. I want to squeeze my balloon, make it soft and stretchy around that pinch twist to the next section. A little too long. Okay, I like that one. Do a pinch twist. Look, we've already hit the end. If you're inventing something, only inflate your balloon halfway. I don't have enough balloon to do what I originally wanted to do. This connector bubble is just tiny. Maybe 2 fingers, less than 2 fingers. Sometimes if you have a hard time going through the pinch twist, I go through the body of the car, back to the bottom. I need some air. There we go. I can get a few more twists out of this balloon now. Connect back up to here. And let's see. You know, it just falls short. If I get another balloon, I pull it and I ask myself, how does that affect? Yeah, even if I pull that, it just doesn't look right. So, you know, I tried to save some extra length on this balloon. It's not working out. I'll let the air out. I could wrap this around this knot, or I could just use this and tie on another balloon. I'm going to tie it on. Inflate it halfway. Pinch the nozzle. Go around the pinch twist at least once or twice, and then I go crisscross over my fingers just like tying a shoelace, and then put one of the pieces between my fingers and pull it through the loop and slowly and gently pull it tight. If it does not have a nozzle, if you pull and let go, it'll pull that balloon right into the center. So there we go. We have now connected that. If it seems too loose and wiggly, you can tighten that joint up by taking the balloon and rolling it around one of the connector points. And that makes it look more tight. Oh, and it will be more tight. Doesn't just look, it will be tight. Pinch twist. And we're going to join back to the main body of the race car. And then we want to kind of match the top. We've now gone across the race car. So now we're going to do to this side what we did to that side. We're going to do a little spacer bubble, and then a pinch twist, and then go across to here. Alright, that looks good. Pinch twist. Spacer bubble. Connect to this pinch twist. Grab the joint, get my finger, and I'm going to pull that joint into the joint of the pinch twist. Squeeze the balloon just a little bit to narrow, and I roll. 2 is good. 1 will hold it in place if you're dealing with speed and you need to get it done fast. But once around for looks, but twice around will help stop any leaks from happening. Or if that section pops, it won't, the whole thing will not deflate. Now to connect this piece, final piece, here. Isolate the bubble, pull it to where the pinch twist meets the other bubbles, pinch and narrow, and then roll it around. I'm going to cut this. I'm not enough. I want to deflate fast. So if you can continue wrapping as long as you pull gently. You don't want to go fast. If you wrap this around fast, you're going to create heat, friction, popping will happen. And then I pull and I let go, and it snaps down tight into that joint. I look at my design overall, and I look to see if anything's pulling. Right now, you just see that single bubble because I only used one bubble going down, but this is the double joint. In my original design, I put the double bubble side by side to fill in more of that area. You can see on this side, I have that double bubble. I turned it sideways. Or if you want it to look uniform, you can just turn it all so it's all single, like this. I like it when it's filled out. If I have a scrap, I can go in and make that double bubble look, but maybe not. I am going to, once I put the nose of the car on, it's going to be even longer and harder to look at. So I'm going to do some decorative work first. I'm going to take a chrome 260 silver. I inflate it halfway. I'm going to use this to make the final connection point on the bottom rung of my car. That's called break and tie. It's on one of my beginner videos. So now I'm going to do sideways decorations. I'm going to first wrap the knot around the 2 pinch twists under the spoiler. Give a squeeze so it is more maneuverable. Kind of push it into that triangle. Twist off a bubble and go around the pinch twist. This is just decoration, so I only go around one time. You can pull, make it stretchy. So when you make your so if you make a small stretchy bubble like this, you can actually pull it and make it look more lined, more pointed, more shaped. We want to go to the other side, so this is where we can make a small bubble. Well, not really small. whatever it takes to go from one side of the car to the other. And now we're here to this side. Now to try to reproduce that soft bubble, maybe I shouldn't have gone halfway. Soft bubble, so one side point is pointed and the other side is shaped. One side wide, one side narrow. Go around to pinch twist once. Push this slightly into this triangle opening. That triangle opening. Push it in just a little bit to size it. Twist off just underneath the pinch twist. And go around one of the bubbles, one of the pinch twists. Actually, I'm going to try to break it. Yeah. Because I'm going to save this tip. Every time you make it, it's going to be a little bit different. These balloons, the balloons come from the sap of the rubber tree. So they're organic and renewable. And when you balloon twist, it's often an organic creation process, meaning it may change a little bit each time. So there we go. We have some fancy stripes. We got back on. And at this point, I think I will put a nose on my car and then work on the wheels. This is going to be one of the center of the wheels. I'm taking advantage of that. Here's a scrap that I have. You can't get that perfect roundness each and every time. You have to like sacrifice the end of a balloon. But what if you don't have balloon ends? This is what you can do. You can take a little scrap. You just need to do a little tie. Stretch out just that area under it because we're going to put just enough air to make a little bubble. Aha. Twist off a bubble that's pretty close to the size of that one. These are going to be on two different sides of the car, so it's okay if they don't match. People will not be looking at your balloon, the balloons at the same time, so they won't compare the sizes. Now that you have a knot at the beginning, you inflated it, sized it, and then tied a new knot. You then take these two ends and you tie these two ends together. And that kind of rounds it out. It makes it look like a pinch twist. This is a fake pinch twist. But you can see it's very close to the size of the end of the balloon. And that's what you want. We don't want this sticking out, so I'm going to stretch it up and give a little trim. That's what we need. All right, set those aside. Now comes the nose of the car. You want to inflate the whole thing all the way to its very, very tippy edge. It is possible to do with a hand pump. One thing that I do is I pull the balloon. This is a 321, also known as a B-body balloon. I grab the tip and I pull the tip as I push down on my floor pump. See, it's already getting in the middle. So I'm holding the sides, so encouraging the air to go into that tip. And now I'm going to let some of the balloon off of the nozzle end as I inflate it. We don't need the whole length because we just want a point at the front of the car. We don't want a Pinocchio car. We have a tip on the end. Now, the way I did it, I pulled the tip too many times and it has a weird bowing shape. It's kind of looking cool. Now, we did not close this front cage. There's the top of the car. We're going to fit this down and in. we're going to take this and pull it over the top, trapping our 321 bear body in place. And to keep it from running around anywhere, I grab the tail and wrap it around one of the pinch twists just to secure it. So this is the body of my race car. Oh, I forgot. I was going to put a windshield on it. So I'm going to reach over here around my balloon bag. I'm going to get a 160 clear. This is what your balloons would look like if they did not have coloring. Sorry. I had to hold my floor pump perfectly up and down. The secret to inflating tiny balloons on your floor pump is tugging the end up as you're pushing down, and that'll allow the air to go through. This is just a windshield. You don't need it. I did not put a windshield on the one that had the robot in it. But it did have a steering wheel. This one I'm not putting a steering wheel in. I went around the pinch twist twice to take that off. I may need this balloon for a future project, so I'm going to set that aside. I have a little bit of that balloon out. Pull and let go, and it gets eaten right up there, nice and tight. Now we're going to have a really fun time and make the wheels. I know I've seen this wheel before, but most recently, Darren Marty Boy taught a most amazing huge car. If you want to make an amazing huge car to wow your friends, you need to get Darren Marty Boy's car tutorial. It is amazing. But you can make the wheels just by making a loop and putting the wheel through. I've seen wheels done like that. I've seen people put 2 pinch twists at the bottom just to flatten out the wheel and make it sit easier. And Darren Marty Boy's car does something very similar. Make sure the loops are about the same. I'm using a 260 black. But yeah, Darren Marty Boy is the last person that I saw do this wheel technique. I had to look to see where else I saw this, but it's what he does. You'll find that the longer into balloons, you'll start doing designs that other artists have done just because you're traveling along the same road and they're very similar. So there is the wheel influenced by Darren Marty Boy. It's good to make sure that these are long enough so when you tie them together, they have a nice slight stretch. If they don't stretch apart nicely, then I recommend tying another uninflated balloon in between them. You don't want them to pull so tight that it pulls your design in. You want to control it. So here, I am taking this wheel and I'm going to go through this side hole underneath the 321 base, and then do the same from the other side, and I'm going to tie it here in the middle. So I'll show you. Grabbing that there. So you can see the string there, and I'm going to grab this one. The center of this will pop out. Put it back through. Put it through there. Now, both of the silver pieces are here in the middle. Now comes cleaning it up. Over under. I like to tie it twice just to make sure that they're good. I lost it. Well, you got the idea. I'm going to put it back together. And this time I'm going to actually look at what I'm doing. Most times your fingers will tell you if you're on the right track or not. So it just occurred to me. You don't have to tie it together. What if I circle around one of the pinch twists? This is experimenting. And look, that wheel is perfect. I got away with it. Yes, man versus balloon. Who will win? Why, the woman, of course. Shout out to Shanna Sharp. She has a Crowdcast 3 times a week balloon broadcast. I've been watching that a lot, and I must say, it's had a huge influence on me. She has a great sense of humor. Okay, we got the front wheels done. The back wheels, it's a race car, need to be large because this is kind of like maybe a drag race car. You need, once upon a time, I had 2 black balloons. And I don't see where they went. Probably on the floor. I can see 1. I can see 2. I have found the 2 runaways. We need 2 more silver centers. So get your silver balloon. 260Q chrome silver. I only recently learned that you should call them 260Qs when you're talking about Qualitex, because all balloon companies call this balloon the 260. The cheap Chinese knockoffs, Gamar balloons, Ballotex balloons, Simpertex balloons. So Qualitex likes to be different. And that's okay. I think it's kind of weird. But I am CB certified, and so I always use Qualitex balloons. Just like some people, when they put 2 balloons together, they call it the marriage twist, but they obviously use a technique called the tulip twist. So I always think of them as tulip twists. I refuse to call them marriage twists. Just because that's just the way my brain works. No matter what you call it, a spade is still a spade. A balloon is still a balloon. It all depends on what you do with it. All right. Now, the reason why I bring that up is we're going to tulip twist these things together. I know that probably just really kills all the old timers who always call them marriage twists. Now how big to do it? Oh, I don't know. Different sizes for different folks. If you can tulip twist them together and they're larger, just make sure they're the same size. See, there it is. But it's resting out. It's not really pulling and dumping in. So I think I have this just a little too long. Balloon magic! It's floating on me. Yeah, static electricity. Balloons are really fun with the amount of real science. If you think about it, there's a lot of science going on with balloons. The way it was sticking to me, that's how they make electricity. Catching those little stray electrons. And that makes me wonder, can you make a light turn on using the static electricity from a balloon? Wonder. So, I'm not explaining this wheel too much, but I think you can figure it out. I need some scraps. Or if you don't have any scraps, just go ahead and use another 260. Since the body of my car is orange, to hide these streams, I am also going to use orange. I think my son is about to come home from school. There we go. So I'm going to, not quite halfway, about 2/3 from the end, wrap it around the knot that you passed through the round balloon. Once really hard should do, as long as there's a little bit of tail. Ah, yes, son. Ah, I homeschool, so one of my sons says that he is working on his schoolwork. That's always good for a mother to hear. Oh, I also forgot. When you're inflating your round balloons, it's best to inflate them at the same time. That way when you deflate them and tie the knot, they're the same size. But these wheels are on different sides of the vehicle, and as long as there's not a huge difference in wheel size, it'll still work. So I created a round balloon to the size I wanted. It has a nice neck. I'm going to squeeze the air up into that neck. Remember, when you squeeze a latex balloon, it makes it soft. Now I take my wheel center, just to make sure you have a good grip on it, do 2 or 3 knots at the end. Touch it to the nozzle, and push the nozzle all the way in, straight to the back, and I'm going to push my finger against here, pinch and catch it, and dip the twist while holding it. Then take your cut balloon, grab 2/3 down, wrap around 3 or 4 times. I'm still kind of holding the pinch. I'm still pinching the layers of balloon. Now I've pulled once really tight, and now that's in. This is sticking too far out. It will be visible, so I'm going to trim this shorter. Now I'm going to take my Racecar. This panel here, I'm going to put the long orange balloon through it. And I'm going to put the orange balloon through this side. And now I'm going to tie it here in the middle. You can do crisscross, or you can pull them two together, go around your fingers and through. Over, under knot. So there it is. And then once you pull and you make sure that that knot is not going to slip anymore, then you may trim and cut it. Ba-boom. And that's my finished race car. There's always more you can do to it. Give it a driver. See the pinch twist? Pinch twist can go up and down or sideways or angled. You might want to go through and just make sure all your pinch twists are up and down or pointed in the direction that you want them to go in. You can put headlights, tail lights, blinky lights, LED lights on the wheels. Make sure that the tied together end is point down. These round balloons back here, you can still pull them down, shape them a little bit. But that's my race car in a nutshell. Happy twisting, everybody. Bye.